Alright everybody, this is Phil Birch checking in here. I'm going to be giving you the deck list that won UK Nationals via video. This is probably the first time this ever been done in UFS, I don't know. I haven't really seen any ever. It's pretty popular in other games though. It's just me being lazy really, I could just write it. But hey, why not give you something to look at? All of this. Alright, so let's get it started off. First off, I was playing Vespera. I was playing my Vespera, Hot Topic Vespera. She's pretty cool. She's pretty broken, easily, obviously. Um, Block, grab back blocks, grab back attacks, kill people. Pretty simple. I won with it, so it's pretty good. Next, we have a big, huge card in her. We got her asset. I played three Quantras. Basically, it's just, it's honestly one of the best cards in the format for asset. I played 4 at Worlds main deck, but with all the new like life throws things coming out with spinning necro driver, I wanted to be able to take them out without having to completely devote my side deck to being able to take them out. With 3, it was just an easy fix, and I'll get to my side deck later on. Next, we'll go to foundations. I'm going to start with the 1 difficulties, move down to the 3 difficulties. The first one, I played 4 of Cursed Blood. They're hollow because swag, I guess. This card's honestly the best card in the format. Even if it's just like a spam, it's like so much more than that. It generates so much advantage. It's either a +1 for you or like you break even with your opponent, and your opponent takes away one of your opponent's power cards. You use it to get rid of a lot of your problems, a lot of matchups like that, and overall it's just great. Next, I have 4 copies of Know Your Objective. Know Your Objective is great 2 ways. It, first of all, is amazing against like high attacks. It's got a high block. It is a speed reduction on high attack, which Vespera is pretty hard against. High attacks kind of can blow you up if they have a lot of speed. And its Desperation Enhance is probably one of the best enhances on a foundation in the game, in my opinion. It slows down life a lot, and it helps you, get through your attacks when they have tons of damage neg. And sometimes I even would take myself to Desperation or kind of try to on purpose just to get those cards online like that. Next, we have 4 copies of Brooding. Brooding, once again, is another just 1/5 with a high block. Takes care of my high block problems pretty well. It also, I use it a lot to burn myself down, like I was saying previously, just to get into Desperation. Because a lot of the 1/5s with Desperation are just really clutch late game. They can help you on a kill turn so much. And the +1 damage never hurt, really. I mean, you never have to use it, you're never required to use it. So it was just always there as a safety net with a high block. Alright, next card I had was 4 copies of Into the Sunset main deck. Into the Sunset, its first effect is pretty bad. It's like enhance, commit, your attack gets speed equals the number of foundations in your opponent's card pool. That never came into play, but its Desperation effect is pretty good. Its Desperation effect is like it's like kind of like baby Chinese boxing, I guess. It's a 1 a 1-for-1. So you commit it, and then you commit one of your opponent's foundations. It comes in handy because it's selective committal, so unless they have momentum, their Torn Heroes can't hit it, and you can just pick and choose around. And that's always good, especially against like Torn Hero decks. Alright, that's it for all my spam foundations. Next, we will play, or I moved down to like 2 difficulties and stuff, so let's go with the best 2 difficulty in the deck. I played 4 Penance. Penance is great. Penance grabs you blocks, Penance grabs attacks, Penance grabs pretty much any reversal you ever want to grab. It targets pretty much every zone in my deck for a block. I have high blocks, mid blocks I can grab, or high blocks and low blocks I can grab, no mid blocks. You'll see that later. And also, you could grab, like, if you have a couple up, you can grab attacks going into your kill turn if your opponent's brave enough to attack you, which happens more than you think. People like to try and just slow game Vespera, but it's not always something that can happen. So you kind of gotta just have them out there. There are big targets for pretty much every card that'll lock something down, commit something, flip something over. But even being a target takes the pressure off of all your other cards that you want to have up. Alright, so moving on, I played 4 copies of Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is a huge damage bump in this deck. It's you flip it face down and it can get pretty much up to 5 damage. For me, it never was. It was really never just 1 or 2 damage. It was always 3, 4, or 5, and those are all huge damage bumps. It's also useful to pick up. It gets like stun deck celestial beings. You can keep filtering through your celestial beings every turn, as long as you're attacking them or as long as they're attacking you. You just keep them up, pick it up, throw it again, keep picking it up, doing it again and again. Picks up penances, picks up just pretty much everything. The flippy floppies, as we call them here in Team Salty, really make Vespera go, and we like them a lot. I wasn't keen to them at first, but Scour, one of the members of Team Salty, really helped me out with that one. This is pretty much a deck inspired completely from his ideas with just the character. I really thought it was cool. Alright, next we got 3 copies of Martial Arts Champion, also hollow. Probably can't see it, but it's, you know, it's cool. Martial Arts Champion is awesome. It's one of my top 5 cards in the format. It shuts down a lot of decks. It hurts all decks, especially, air decks especially. Anything that runs off that silly superior tech engine, it can just shut down completely. Shuts down clandestine researches, financial troubles, contacting hydrants and stuff to a lesser extent. Hunt for Jins against like Kazuyas and stuff. And it's even stops Wonderworld Warriors, which I know nobody's playing, but Garrett thought he was going to be a big man and play it against Vesperas and stuff to remove their cards. He locked it down pretty well, but like that's just a target. Like I said, it's the same thing with Penance. Becomes a bigger target for cards that your opponent would normally want to commit down, but they can't because of like just the power level of some things. Alright, next we have 3 copies of Celestial Being. Celestial Being is just one of those cards that stops fire. It just shuts down Fire Stun, which is a good thing. It's also used to protect Vespera. If you have any deck that relies on their character and has these symbols, you definitely need to be playing this card. Pommel Smashes, it shuts down the response on when the moon comes over the mountain. It's just good stuff like that. It also has a sneaky good damage pump and speed pump. I used it against Danny Fung before he even knew what the hell was going on in Top Cuts. I had like 4 momentum stacked up, and I was like, all right, let's go crazy. All right, next card we have is Manhunt. Another Vespera card that nobody really plays. I haven't seen it actually in anything. I played 3 of them because it's a good speed pump. And it also helps with the blocking situation because it can turn attacks to mid. It's got Enhanced Commit, make this attack mid, which is really clutch if you're playing against decks that are off zone and you don't happen to hold the blocks. Another neat trick is if you have it and Left 4 Dead up, you can flip, or you can make it a mid with something, or if it is a mid, and you're not holding like any blocks or whatever. You can give the attack 2 speed with your Manhunt, minus the 2 speed with Vespera, and pick the Manhunt up with your Left 4 Dead and go for a block on just speed plus the 3 block modifier, which is really cool, and I don't think many people like to do it. I don't know why. I think the flippy cards are really good, especially with cards like Smoke Satisfaction and stuff around, which is what we are going to be moving on to now. Alright, I played 3 Smoke Satisfactions. Smoke Satisfaction is it's a low block, which is obviously Vespera's best block zone. The Destroy Foundation Draw card effect I never use because it's just not good. It's more like a desperation effect, and I've seen people use it as like a real effect, and I think that's silly. The second effect, I don't even know what it does. I've never read it because I know it's bad. Here, let me get that for you. Just Enhance Commit, discard up to 2 face-down cards from your card pool, only playable during your opponent's turn. So, I guess if your opponent's playing some weird kind of Lu Chen thing, maybe? I don't know. But the real effect on it's the form. You destroy it and you both flip up 2 face-down cards. That's amazing for reusable damage pumps and speed pumps like Left 4 Dead and stuff like that. It turns them to reusable, where they're normally like 1 uses. I sided out against all decks and stuff that flips their own shit face down because it's bad. Like if I'm playing against another reversal deck, I don't want them to flip their penances back up. If I'm playing against all air or void, I don't want them to flip their perfect accuracies up because that's just dumb. Yeah. So like my final match, I took them out immediately after game 1 because Garrett was playing all. All right. Next, we'll move on to what Piglet said I played in every deck. We'll go with Ka Technique. I play Ka Technique in every deck because Ka Technique is probably a top 10 card. It shuts down a lot of stuff that air can do, or not air, all can do. It shuts down a lot of stuff that life can do, a lot of stuff good can do. It kills attack turns, really, because it shuts off reusable damage pumps, reusable speed pumps. They attack you, you're like, okay, well, I can't stop this one, but I can stop the next several because I can shut down your Drossel, I can shut down your Together Agains, your Regretful Existences, stuff like that. Alright. Moving on to the 3 difficulties, I've got 3 copies of War Between Sisters. This was a Jeremy Wraith inspired creation because I told him that I couldn't beat life decks. I was like, Jeremy, I'm struggling with life decks. How do I stop them from having momentum for Torn Heroes and Rebirths? He said, well, have you read War Between Sisters? Pretty much. I was like, I forgot about that card. What it does is when your opponent plays their attack, if they have momentum, they're going to have to discard it. And since I'm Vespera, I'm going to be, before they can get more momentum, I'm going to be blocking them and then like reverse them with P-touches, and they're going to not be able to, you know, respond with either Torn Hero or Rebirth on whatever I destroy or stun. So usually if they have both, you kind of pick off the Torn Hero, then hit a stun too, because Torn Hero is way stronger than Rebirth. You never want to just hit Rebirth if it can be avoided. The other effect on War Between Sisters is kind of Both players discard a card. I think I used it a few times though, and it is kind of beneficial if your opponent's like, oh, I'm just going to hold a couple cards. Then if you draw up a grip of attacks, you're like, well, I've got the damage, and you have like 1 card in your hand, so you can only block 1 of these. Or you have 2 cards in your hand, you can only block 1 of these. Next we got Peaceful Messenger, Karibo, that's what we call it here. Basically, it was used to block like life throws is what I planned on it doing. Because for a minute there, we have a life throws deck that was giving tons of problems. Ava life throws is pretty legitimate, and that was getting smashed by it. So I was like, we're going to throw this in here and see what happens. You block with it, you take no damage. So it basically made throws kind of non-existent, and with the use of like some cards, you could recur it and stuff like that. Really what I used it more for at CanNats, though, was the damage or speed bump. It's enhanced commit, your attack gets +2 speed or +2 damage. And that's really good. My late game was really good because I could give things upwards of like 12 speed with Manhunts, Peaceful Messengers, Kalantras, stuff like that. So it went in being kind of like a bad version of Strange Fashion and came out better in my opinion. Alright, next up we're going to move to the actions. I play 4 copies of Garrett's action. I splash it off of water because all my attacks have water. I recommend you do that in any deck you can do. Even if you're not playing off of, say, air, but all your attacks have air. It's really good. I saw a couple people doing it. I know Kaz from Canada was doing it. He had a couple copies, I believe, in his life deck. And this card doesn't have life. No life. See? If it had life, life would be the best symbol forever and ever and ever. But yeah. The response I never really use because I can't afford to do it. A lot of my cards have water, but it's really risky blocking with it. Or, yeah, blocking with it or responding with it. It's real risky. Because if I'm holding that and a death card, I can't just do it. I'll just kind of die. Alright, now let's move on to the attacks. I've got 4 copies of Paralyzing Touch. Yeah, if you don't know this card's broken. The Death Enhance is over the top, the Stun 2 is over the top, the Water Enhance is over the top. The only thing not over the top about it pretty much is its check, which is a 2. If it was any higher, I think this card would be snap banned. It's got a low block, it's got a breaker, it's got everything. But on like contrast, if it's gone, I don't think Death or Fire Vespera would actually ever do anything in a competitive scene. I think the water one still got some neat tricks, but Death and Fire are just so lacking in reversals that like it just completely shuts off 2 of Vespera's symbols, and I don't think that's cool. I don't necessarily think it would be bad though because of how powerful it is. It's something you kind of have to deal with, I guess. It's really not the hardest to play around, but you have to plan for it. It's late. If you tag me early game, you're almost surely going to lose because you're going to attack me. I'm going to block reversal you. And if you have 3 foundations, you're going to end up with 0 commit or 0 ready, and one of them is going to be gone. So you enter the turn with 3 foundations, and you're going to leave the turn with 0 ready. I don't know if you like that, but I would not like that at all. All right, next I played 4 copies of Sting Kick. I went with 4 copies of Sting Kick because its effect generates a lot of damage if you hit with multiples, and it also has another low block. I think I came out with about 16 low blocks, which is pretty good. Like I didn't lose to Evil. I don't think I could lose to Evil, and like in that same vein, I don't think I could lose to like Order decks either, because Order decks really rely on Flash Needle. And the static on Sting Kick just it discards all multiple copies, so like it's great against Spinning Demons, Flash Needles, and in combination with Manhunt, it can even be good against high multiples like Divine Tribulation and stuff like that. You obviously still take some damage, but at least you're not taking all of the damage. Next, I will move on to Mugshot. Mugshot is a great block. It's a +1 high block. My deck ran around 17 high blocks. It's also a really cheap attack that can generate up to about 4 damage by itself. And with all of its bonuses, it can get pretty nasty. But the deck's full of bonuses, so it's not something you should... It's something you should count for, I guess, if you're ever planning on playing against Vespera that's off the death or something like that. Water, to a lesser extent, has bonuses, but it's not, like, all of them. I feel like Death had a lot more bonuses than I thought it was going to have when I first built the deck. And once again, that's like all Scour. Scour is ahead of the curve, apparently, in his own mind, but pretty much all of his predictions come out correct. He said I should play Peaceful Messenger from the beginning. Didn't listen to him. He said we should play Flippy Floppies from the beginning. Didn't listen to him. And those are the cards that win me the games. So I guess he was right. And finally, I played 3 copies of Grasping Widow, just as icing. It's a 10 damage, pretty much attack. Stun 3, kills. It's the kill turn card. It's more than you've ever wanted. I killed everybody on their turn. I never killed an opponent on my turn. Or I killed everybody on my turn. I never killed an opponent on their turn. And with Grasping Widows and Paralyzing Touches, you can easily kill them late game with all your bonuses on speed and damage. I know at Worlds late game Vespera, I was under the impression it wasn't a real thing. I think if I played this list, I could have beaten Keith in top 8. I'm not for sure because Angels were really good still then, but I think I would have had at least a better shot. And especially against like every game I played, top 8 was it was something else. I played against Danny Fung first round. We both played Death reversal decks. The games went really long. I was attacking him. He would kind of hold back, attack me, surprise punishments, kill me and stuff. But towards like the second and third game, I figured out I could get attacks with like 15 speed and stun 2. And I just went in after that. I finished it off, and then that happened. AJ kind of tried for the slow mill thing game 1. And once he realized I could kill him late game, he had to change to an aggressive strategy, which plays to my strategy too, or plays into my game 2. And then Garrett figured out I could kill him late game 2 as well. Like, I don't know. I beat him game 1. He tried to switch to a more aggressive strategy, or slower strategy, whatever. And then I beat him game 3. He beat me game 2, which is fine. Then I took it down. And now I'll show you the side deck. First I had 3 rewards. This card's great against pretty much everything. It's pretty good against Chaos decks, Life decks, like the Mai that everybody loves. It's good against Fire, All, Air to an extent. It's just a really good versatile card. It's pretty heavily costed though. Like I said, if I was playing against Spinning Necro Drivers, I'd probably switch the Kalantras out for those, depending on the matchup. Like against an Ava throw deck, I would for sure do that. Next, I put in 2 copies of Meddling with Higher Powers right before the tournament. I never tested it until about the 3rd or 4th round, and it seemed to be good. You steal copies of cards that are going to lock you down. You can take a No One to Talk if they only have 1. You take their War Between Sisters. Quick exits, pretty much anything. Just stuff that can be beneficial to you and hurt them if they don't have it, which is really cool about it. I would never recommend just keep using it. Like, yeah, I'm just going to take a card for the fun of it, because then they're just going to take something of yours. I only ever used it. I used it exclusively on kill turns, because there didn't feel like there was a reason to use it anytime else. Alright, moving on. I had 1 Peaceful Messenger in the side deck. Like, again, it was against, like, throw decks. And then like later on, I figured out that it'd be really good against like every deck that wanted to try and take me late game. I would give them more speed, more stuff like that, and just trying to lock you down. Then I've got one copy of Celestial Being to deal with, obviously, if they had an excessive amount of stun, Garrett's actions, Pommel Smashes, stuff like that. Because with Vespera committed, you're kind of in a silly, like, difficult spot to either have Penance or Garrett's action to, like, Paralyzing Touch. So if my character's committed and I have 2 cards in hand, I have to bank on one of them being Garrett's action. So I could be like, okay, enhance, target Paralyzing Touch, block with this other card, reversal of Paralyzing Touch, and then hope you don't smash me. I did that a lot, but it's not. It's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. You just are better off trying to make sure she doesn't get committed. And if she does, use that pennant or use that when Moon comes over the mountain on a block, not an attack, because you could get burned. Next, I had final copy of Martial Arts Champion. Like I already explained, this is one of my favorite cards in the game. I think it's a top 5 card, and I think it's a necessary card in the game. More so than Cursed Blood. Cursed Blood could go. It's a reprint that I think we need to have. I think we need to have a card that just hard turns off draw. And obviously doesn't hit characters or anything like that. Because there's so much draw in the game that's just so strong. Well, that's my deck. I guess I'm probably going to post the actual list on the description or something. I don't know, maybe not. As always, hit subscribe and stay tuned for my tournament report and other videos to come. Alright, signing out.